first computer mouse was made of wood. In 1964, Douglas Engelbart invented the first computer mouse, and it was made of wood. This device, with two metal wheels, revolutionized how humans interact with computers. Today, modern mice are much more advanced, but that wooden mouse remains a landmark in computer history. Can you imagine that bananas are actually berries? Despite their shape and size, bananas are, botanically speaking, berries. It all comes down to how they develop from a flower. But here's the twist. Strawberries, which we often think of as berries, technically aren't. Although bananas look more like a fruit, their internal structure and growth process mark them as true berries. So next time you enjoy a banana, remember you're eating a bona fide berry. Did you know that beneath Amsterdam is a complex sewer system? In addition to the famous canals that cross Amsterdam, there is also an extensive network of underground canals built as early as the 16th century. This intricate sewer system not only keeps the city's canals clean, but also prevents flooding. Staying true to tradition, Amsterdam conducts annual inspections to keep these old canals in working condition and to keep the city afloat. Did you know the Nile is the longest river in the world? The Nile River, which stretches approximately 6,650 kilometers, passes through 11 countries in northeastern Africa. These countries, Burundi, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Egypt, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, South Sudan, Tanzania, and Uganda, depend on the Nile for their economies, cultures, and ecosystems. The Nile is not only a lifeline for millions of people, but also a witness to ancient history spanning millennia. 6 legs but no steps. The mystery of dragonflies. Dragonflies, like most insects, have 6 legs, but here's the twist. They can't walk. Doesn't that sound illogical? Instead of using their legs to get around on the ground, dragonflies use them for entirely different purposes. Their legs are perfectly adapted for grabbing prey in midair. Dragonflies use their legs like a little net to catch insects while flying. This adaptation makes them true masters of aerial hunting, able to catch prey mid-flight and then settle comfortably on a branch to enjoy their meal. For them, life is all about the thrill of the chase. Why do different countries have different sized banknotes? Banknotes in various countries are sized differently to help people with visual impairments distinguish them by touch. For instance, in the United States, all bills are the same size, but in euros and British pounds, each denomination varies in length and width. This helps not only the visually impaired, but also everyone else quickly differentiate denominations without looking. Additionally, it adds protection against counterfeiting, as counterfeit bills rarely match the exact sizes of the originals. Did you know there are 1 through 500 types of tea? The world of tea is a universe of flavors and aromas. There are about 1,500 types of tea, ranging from familiar black and green teas to exotic blends with fruits and herbs. Millions of people around the world drink tea, and each type offers a unique experience and its own health benefits. Drinking tea is a whole ritual in which you can explore different cultures and traditions, discovering new flavors with every sip. Is it possible? Sea otters hold hands while sleeping. Sea otters are one of the most adorable animals in the ocean, and they have a heartwarming habit of holding hands while they sleep. This behavior isn't just cute. It serves a practical purpose, preventing them from drifting apart in ocean currents. By holding onto each other, they form small floating rafts, demonstrating their strong social bonds and clever ways to stay together in the ever-moving sea. Did you know chickens are descendants of tyrannosaurs? The next time you see a chicken, think about this. You're looking at a distant descendant of the mighty Tyrannosaurus rex. Scientific research has shown that chickens, and some other modern birds, share more traits with these prehistoric predators than any other living animal. This genetic link between chickens and dinosaurs may seem strange, but it's yet another fascinating example of how evolution shapes species. Who would have thought that the mighty T-Rex would one day evolve into a humble chicken? You'll never look at chickens the same way again. Did you know the world's oldest message in a bottle was found after more than a century? In 2018, a bottle washed ashore on a beach in Western Australia, containing a message tossed into the Indian Ocean by a German ship in 1886. This message had traveled through the seas for an incredible 132 years before being discovered. Talk about slow and steady mail service. It's a fascinating glimpse into the past, connecting us with a different era. Did you know that the name John is over 4,000 years old? The name John is one of the oldest in human history, documented more than 4,000 years ago. This name has endured through countless ages and cultures, remaining relevant even today. Just imagine, millions of people throughout history have carried this simple yet powerful name, which continues to symbolize tradition and endurance. Did you know that lightning is hotter than the sun? The temperature of lightning can reach up to 30,000 degrees Celsius, which is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. This incredible natural phenomenon is one of the most powerful forces on Earth. When lightning strikes, it releases an enormous amount of energy in just a few milliseconds, heating the air around it to extreme temperatures. Lightning is truly nature's own flamethrower, bringing intense heat with every flash. Why do snails bury themselves in the ground? The snails we often see after rain don't just dig into the soil for fun. It's their way of surviving extreme conditions. When it gets too hot or dry, snails create a special mucus plug to retain moisture in their bodies and bury themselves to endure the dry periods. This process, called estivation, is a type of summer hibernation that allows snails to survive harsh seasons. Can you imagine? Flamingos aren't born pink. Baby flamingos come into the world with grayish-white feathers. They develop their signature pink hue only after they start feeding on brine shrimp and blue-green algae. These colorful foods contain pigments called carotenoids, which gradually turn their feathers pink. It's a vivid transformation that turns these elegant birds into the beautiful pink creatures we adore. So, the next time you see a flamingo, remember, their color is all thanks to their diet. Did you know that some mushrooms can glow in the dark? Certain types of mushrooms have a magical ability to glow in the dark, creating a mystical forest scene. This phenomenon is called bioluminescence. When walking through the woods at night, some mushrooms emit a soft, mysterious glow, turning the forest floor into a fairy tale. This glow attracts insects, helping the mushrooms spread their spores, making them not only beautiful, but functional. Bioluminescent mushrooms are yet another example of nature's wonders. Did you know that the Tower of London was once bright white? In the Middle Ages, the Tower of London wasn't gray as it is today, but instead it was covered with a white plaster, earning it the nickname White Tower. At that time, white plaster symbolized strength and purity. Every few years, the tower was repainted to maintain its bright appearance. Over time, the coating wore away, and the tower became gray due to dirt and pollution. But once, it really was a gleaming white pearl on the London skyline. Did you know that medieval winemakers used ton as a measurement? In the Middle Ages, the term tern was a standard unit of measurement used to quantify wine. 1 ton referred to the volume of wine that could fill a large cask. This old unit of measurement was integral to the wine trade across Europe, shaping commerce and trade routes. Today, the term may seem outdated, but its legacy lives on in the language of winemakers and traders, reminding us of how ancient practices have shaped modern traditions. El Popo, Mexico's fiery mountain. Popocatépetl, known as El Popo, is one of the most active and dangerous volcanoes in the world, located just 50 kilometers from Mexico City. It regularly spews thousands of tons of gas and ash into the air, keeping geologists and locals on their toes. Its unpredictable nature makes it a constant threat, but also serves as a reminder of nature's power and destructive force. Each eruption of El Popo is a reminder that our planet is alive and capable of awe-inspiring phenomena. How did the term honeymoon originate, and what does it have to do with honey? The term honeymoon traces back to ancient Babylonian culture. It turns out that after a wedding, the bride's father would provide the newlyweds with a month's supply of honey and mead, a fermented honey drink. This ritual was believed to ensure happiness and fertility in the early days of marriage. Because of this tradition, the first month of marriage became known as the honeymoon, and this idea has endured through the ages, becoming a symbol of romantic getaways for newlyweds. Did you know that there is a country where money is made of plastic? In Australia, all banknotes are made of polymer, not paper. This makes them much more durable and harder to counterfeit. Australian polymer money can last up to 2.5 times longer than paper notes and can easily withstand humidity and even being submerged in water. In fact, due to this technology, plastic has become the currency material of choice for more than 30 countries. Additionally, Australian money can be cut in half, and each half is still considered legal tender until replaced. Did you know why watches and ads show 10 past 10? Most watch ads show the hands set at 10 minutes past 10. This is no accident. This position creates a visually pleasing appearance that resembles a smiling face. Additionally, this way, the hands do not obscure the company's logo, which is typically placed at the 12 o'clock position. This layout also highlights balance and symmetry, making advertising photos even more appealing. Incredible but true, the Arctic tern takes the longest journey on Earth. Every year, the Arctic tern embarks on an extraordinary migration from the Arctic to Antarctica and back, covering up to 70,000 kilometers. This incredible bird follows the sun, living in perpetual summer as it flies from one pole to the other. The Arctic tern's migration is the longest of any animal, showcasing not only its endurance, but also its remarkable navigational skills. It's a testament to nature's astonishing adaptability and the lengths some creatures will go to survive. Is it possible? There's blue fire on volcanoes. On the island of Java, Indonesia, stands the Ijen volcano, famous for its unique natural phenomenon, blue fire. This extraordinary sight is caused by the high concentration of sulfur and volcanic gases, which ignites upon contact with the air, producing a bright blue flame. This blue fire can only be seen at night, creating a breathtaking and almost mystical display. Tourists from all over the world travel here to witness this rare phenomenon that cannot be seen anywhere else. Vending machines are more dangerous than sharks. When you go to grab a snack from a vending machine, danger probably isn't on your mind. But here's the shocker. Vending machines pose a greater threat to us than sharks. Research shows that you are more likely to be killed by a vending machine than by a shark. This startling fact reminds us that everyday objects can be surprisingly dangerous. So next time you get a snack, be careful. The real danger might just be lurking in the office or school hallway. Can you believe that in the USA, there was once a reign of spiders? In the small town of Golden, Colorado, in 2015, an unusual natural phenomenon occurred, which locals called the reign of spiders. Thousands of spiders fell from the sky, filling the streets and yards. Scientists explain this by the fact that spiders use a technique called ballooning, where they take off into the sky on their webs and travel great distances using wind. This phenomenon can be observed in various parts of the world, but such a massive reign shocked the locals. Your chances of winning the lottery? Dangerously low. How likely do you think it is to win the lottery? Believe it or not, the chances of dying on your way to buy a lottery ticket are higher than hitting the jackpot. Statistically, your odds of winning the lottery are so low that you're more likely to suffer from an unfortunate accident. This doesn't mean you shouldn't play, but perhaps it's worth remembering that true luck is just getting home safe and sound. So if you decide to try your luck, be cautious. Sometimes the road to your dream can be more dangerous than you think. Why do chickens peck at their food? When a chicken finds food and pecks it on the ground, it's not just a random habit. This process is called beak pounding and helps chickens break down food into smaller, easier to manage pieces. A chicken's powerful beak acts like a tool to crack seeds and other tough bits of food. This behavior is common among many birds, but chickens do it with particular zeal, allowing them to get more nutrients and energy from their meals. Next time you see a chicken pecking, remember, it's using its own little kitchen tools. Organic food, truth or myth? About its benefits, research shows that there is no significant difference between organic and conventional foods in terms of nutritional value. While many believe that organic products are healthier and taste better, science doesn't support major distinctions. Some studies have also found no notable differences in taste. However, people often choose organic foods for lower pesticide levels and more eco-friendly farming practices. When choosing between organic and conventional, it's up to each person to decide what matters most: taste or caring for the planet. It's interesting that Tokyo has no street addresses. In Tokyo, addresses are assigned not to streets, but to buildings, which is very unusual for a large city. Buildings are numbered in order of construction, not by their location on a street. This means finding the right address for the first time can be challenging if you're not familiar with the area. Instead of streets, residents and visitors orient themselves by metro stations and districts, giving Tokyo a unique charm and character. Is it true that blood type O is the most common in the world? Yes, blood type O is indeed the most common on the planet. Approximately 38% of the world's population has this blood type, making it not only the most frequent, but also highly valuable for transfusions. Because of its universal compatibility, type O blood can be given to anyone with a positive blood type, which makes it critical in medical emergencies. If you have blood type O, know that you possess a valuable resource that could save countless lives. It's hard to believe, but there are trees that walk. In the Amazon, there is a palm tree known as Socratia exoriza, which locals call the walking palm. This tree can move short distances over the course of several years in search of better growing conditions. Its roots gradually shift, causing the palm to step. While it's not a real walk, the plant's ability to move toward the light makes it unique in the plant world. Is it possible? The most venomous snake in the world lives in Australia. The inland taipan, also known as the fierce snake, is the most venomous creature on the planet. The venom from one bite is powerful enough to kill over 100 people. Despite its fearsome reputation, the inland taipan is a very shy and elusive snake, preferring to avoid contact with humans. It can be found only in remote parts of Australia, where it hunts small mammals using its incredible speed and deadly precision. Did you know that only 1/10 of an iceberg's mass is visible? When we see an iceberg, it may seem like just a big block of ice. However, 90% of its volume is hidden underwater. This happens because the density of ice is lower than that of seawater, causing most of the iceberg to remain beneath the surface. That's why icebergs are so dangerous for ships. Their true size is much larger than what is visible above the water. Did you know that cat's eyes save lives on roads? Who would have thought that a simple reflective device could save millions of lives? Cat's eye reflectors were invented in 1934 by Percy Shaw, inspired by how car headlights reflected off a cat's eyes in the night. These small reflective elements became an essential part of road markings, helping drivers navigate better at night and in bad weather. Now used worldwide, they are a simple innovation that has dramatically improved road safety, saving thousands of lives. The elephant trunk trick: 40,000 muscles in one nose. Yes, you read that right. An elephant's trunk contains about 40,000 muscles. That's more than the entire human body, and this is why an elephant's trunk is so incredibly versatile. With it, elephants can lift heavy branches, gently pick berries, drink water, make sounds, and even caress their young. But did you know that young elephants often suck on their trunks, just like children suck their thumbs? It helps them feel calm and secure. A true wonder of nature. Such a complex and multifunctional organ like the elephant's trunk. It's hard to believe, but giraffes and humans have the same number of neck vertebrae. Despite the fact that a giraffe's neck is much longer, both giraffes and humans have the same number of neck vertebrae, 7. These bones provide support for the head and allow neck mobility. In giraffes, they are simply much longer than in humans. This fascinating fact highlights the amazing diversity of evolution and nature, despite the external differences between species. Why is kissing camels banned in Egypt, and what could happen if you disobey? In Egypt, you can find signs warning, "No camel kissing." And it's not as strange as it sounds. These animals can be unpredictable, and they also carry infections that can be transmitted to humans. Despite their friendly appearance, camels can show aggression, especially when they feel threatened. It's better to keep a safe distance and settle for a photo to avoid any unpleasant surprises. Why are trees in Poland mysteriously bent? In the crooked forest near the village of Gryfino in Poland, there are trees with mysterious curved trunks. Their bend begins almost at the roots, and the trees grow at an angle before straightening up. The exact reasons for this bend are unknown, and there are many theories, from human intervention to natural anomalies. The crooked forest has become a popular tourist destination, drawing travelers eager to solve this natural mystery. Coca-Cola and its secret ingredients. The name Coca-Cola comes from two of its original ingredients, coca leaves and cola nuts, which were used to give the drink its distinctive taste and effects. The coca leaves provided a mild stimulant, while the cola nuts added caffeine. Today, the exact formula of Coca-Cola remains a closely guarded secret. Despite changes to the recipe, the story behind its creation and the brand's mystique continue to fascinate people around the world. Did you know almonds and peaches are relatives? It turns out that almonds and peaches are members of the same plant family, Rosaceae. These two fruits are distant cousins in the plant world. Despite their differences, they share many biological traits. So next time you enjoy almonds or peaches, remember that your favorite snacks are actually relatives, and nature is full of surprising connections. Can you guess when the first mobile phone call was made? On April 3, 1973, the first mobile phone call in history was made. This historic moment took place in New York City when Motorola engineer Martin Cooper dialed the number of his competitor. The phone was bulky and weighed over 1 kilogram. This call marked the beginning of a new era in communications, paving the way for the sleek smartphones we carry with us today. It turns out that in some countries, you can wash banknotes. In countries like Australia and Canada, banknotes are printed on a special polymer material, not paper, making them durable and waterproof. These plastic bills are not only harder to tear, but you can accidentally wash them in your pants pocket and they'll remain intact. This innovation has reduced the cost of producing banknotes and made them more long-lasting. The future of money is money that isn't afraid of water. It's hard to believe, but there's a city in Italy with no streets. Venice, Italy, is a city without traditional streets. There are only canals, and boats are the primary mode of transportation. Streets, as we know them, simply don't exist. Movement around the city is entirely water-based, making Venice unique among other cities in the world. Tourists travel by gondola or water taxi, enjoying the romantic atmosphere of this city on the water. Venice is one of those rare examples where the city has adapted to the constant presence of water. An endless chocolate bar? Illusion or reality? The illusion of an endless chocolate bar is a geometric trick that creates the impression that a bar of chocolate can regenerate itself infinitely. It's an ingenious visual illusion that tricks our minds into believing in mathematical magic. Unfortunately, this trick doesn't work with real chocolate bars, but wouldn't it be a dream come true if it did? Did you know that some frogs can freeze solid and still survive? It turns out that certain frog species, like the wood frog, can completely freeze during winter and come back to life in the spring. These amazing amphibians can survive sub-zero temperatures by freezing almost entirely solid. Their hearts stop beating, they stop breathing, and their bodies turn rock hard. Yet, when the weather warms up, they thaw and return to their usual lives, hopping around like nothing happened. Nature's cold storage system proves that frogs are some of the ultimate survivors. Why did the famous bridge in Venice almost sink? The Rialto Bridge is the oldest and one of the most recognizable bridges in Venice. It began to sink shortly after its construction in the 16th century. Venice itself is subject to constant flooding, so the bridge has gradually sunk over time. Engineers have conducted numerous restoration works to preserve it, but Venice still faces the threat of sinking, and the Rialto Bridge serves as a reminder of the fragility of this magnificent city. Why did Finland create hedgehog robots for cleaning parks? In Tampere, one of Finland's most eco-conscious cities, robots that look like hedgehogs were invented to collect litter in parks. These adorable devices are equipped with sensors that help them locate and pick up trash. The hedgehog robots not only help keep the parks clean, but also bring joy to park visitors who can watch the little robots at work. Ancient Roman firefighters and their unusual tactics. In ancient Rome, firefighting wasn't just about saving lives. It was a business. When a fire broke out, firefighters would rush to the scene, but they would only put out the flames if the property owner agreed on a price. This strange combination of urgency and negotiation shows just how different firefighting was back then compared to today. Back in those days, saving a building from flames required both money and quick decisions. Can you imagine a shoe the size of a car? In 2015, an Indian shoemaking company crafted the world's largest shoe, measuring a whopping 6.4 meters in length and almost 3 meters in height. This colossal shoe is the equivalent of a US size 2090 and was made from leather, rubber, and foam. It's hard to imagine anyone wearing it, but it's certainly a record-breaking feat of craftsmanship. Can you believe a sloth can hold its breath for 40 minutes? Sloths, despite their slow movements, possess an extraordinary ability to hold their breath for up to 40 minutes. This physiological adaptation helps them survive in the treetops and protect themselves from predators, even allowing them to stay underwater for extended periods when crossing rivers. This unique skill, developed for life in the rainforest canopy, shows how evolution has crafted these creatures to perfectly match their environment. Sloths may be slow, but their adaptations are anything but ordinary. Can you imagine that computer memory once used magnetic rings? In the early days of computing, memory was made up of tiny magnetic rings through which electrical signals were passed. These rings stored data, and they could be erased by reversing the current. Despite their small size, this technology was groundbreaking and used until microchips were invented. The rings were literally strung on wires, and every bit of memory was worth its weight in gold. Did you know that there are hotels in Japan run by robots? In Japan, there is a hotel chain called Henna Hotel, where guests are served by robots. Robots can greet visitors, check them in, and even deliver their luggage to their rooms. In some cases, cleaning and room service are also handled by machines. This innovative approach brings a futuristic feel to hospitality, making Japan one of the leaders in robotic service. And although it sounds like the future, you can experience this today. Believe it or not, colorblind people live full, vibrant lives. Colorblindness is a condition where some people have difficulty distinguishing certain colors, with red and green being the most common. However, people with color blindness have adapted by using patterns, memory, and modern technology, such as color filters for screens and specialized glasses. These innovations help colorblind individuals lead full lives and express themselves uniquely. Despite the challenges, colorblind people overcome these obstacles with resilience and creativity, proving that life is as vibrant as they make it. Can cockroaches survive a nuclear explosion? Cockroaches have long earned a reputation as super survivors, capable of withstanding even the most extreme conditions, including high levels of radiation. But is it true that they can survive a nuclear explosion? In reality, cockroaches can indeed survive radiation exposure, but there are creatures far better adapted to this, like certain types of fungi and microbes. Nevertheless, cockroaches remain a symbol of resilience, able to survive conditions that would kill most other living creatures. Infinite combinations, a deck of cards, and the vastness of the universe. The number of ways to shuffle a standard 52-card deck is mind-blowing. This figure is known as the factorial of 52 and equals a number with 60 zeros. This means that every time you shuffle a deck, you are likely creating a combination that has never existed before and will never be repeated. So next time you play cards, remember, you have a whole universe of possibilities in your hands. The Babylonian lottery. Fate decides dinner. Imagine your dinner invitation being decided by a lottery. In ancient Babylon, there was a lottery where fate literally determined who would attend the feast. This method of selecting banquet guests added an element of randomness and unpredictability to social life. Fate played a decisive role in who would be at the dinner table. This ancient custom shows just how much in life can depend on chance, especially when it comes to something as delightful as dinner. Have you ever thought about how bats are the only flying mammals? Their wings are unlike birds' wings. They are special membranes stretched between elongated fingers. This unique construction allows bats to perform complex aerial maneuvers while hunting insects. They also use echolocation to navigate in the dark, making them incredibly precise hunters. Bats play a vital role in ecosystems, eating vast numbers of insects and pollinating plants. Did you know that Dr. Seuss invented the word nerd? The term nerd, used to describe someone passionate about knowledge and science, was first coined by Dr. Seuss in his book, If I Ran the Zoo in 1950. This whimsical term quickly gained popularity and became a beloved label for those who are enthusiastic about learning and geek culture. Thanks to Dr. Seuss, nerd has evolved into a term of endearment for those who love to dive deep into the world of science and intellectual pursuits. Who would have thought that giraffe spots are like fingerprints? Giraffes are not only majestic creatures, but they also have a unique feature. Each giraffe's spot pattern is as individual as a human fingerprint. No two giraffes have the same spot configuration, which makes them truly one of a kind. These spots serve more than just an aesthetic function. They help regulate body temperature in the hot savanna and assist in social recognition within their groups. So, next time you see a giraffe, remember that its spots are as unique as your fingerprint. Why is there a village in China where nearly everyone lives past 100 years? In the Chinese village of Bama, nearly every other resident lives to be 100 years old or more. Scientists believe it's due to the clean air, mineral-rich water, and a diet rich in local herbs and vegetables. The locals also lead active lives, working physically well into old age. Tourists come here hoping to learn the secrets of longevity, but the villagers say the key is harmony with nature and a positive outlook. Can you imagine that eagles symbolize philosophical power? In philosophy, the eagle often represents concepts such as strength, decisiveness, and honor. This majestic bird symbolizes control and authority. The eagle's powerful gaze is seen as a reflection of leadership qualities, inspiring people to consider them as rulers in the realm of ideas. Philosophers have long used the image of the eagle to illustrate the power of thought and action. Is it possible? In Tokyo, there is an inverted tower that goes more than 60 floors underground. The Japanese are known for their engineering ingenuity, and the inverted tower project is one of the most ambitious. This tower, unlike traditional skyscrapers, goes deep underground instead of soaring into the sky. Built in the dense urban landscape, it is an innovative solution for creating new office and living spaces in a land-scarce environment. Imagine walking down the street, and below you, there's a whole underground city. Did you know that the resolution of the human eye surpasses any camera? Our eyes can distinguish up to 10 million shades of color with such incredible clarity that no modern camera can compare. Imagine this. The human eye has a resolution of 576 megapixels. This is far beyond even the best photographic technologies available today. We all love high-resolution screens, but we often forget that our own eyes already provide us with the perfect visual experience. And the best part? It's completely free. Why was Stonehenge really built? The mystery of Stonehenge has puzzled scientists for centuries. One theory suggests it was an ancient astronomical structure used to observe celestial events. Research shows that Stonehenge was aligned with the summer and winter solstices. Another hypothesis proposes that it was a place of healing or a ritual complex. Despite numerous theories, the true purpose of this ancient monument remains a mystery. Can you pronounce a word with 189,000 letters? The longest word in the English language is the chemical name of the protein titin, and it consists of a staggering 189,000 letters. Pronouncing it could take several hours. Of course, such a word isn't used in everyday life, but it exists as a linguistic marvel of science. This fact shows just how complex and amazing language can be when it comes to science and chemistry. The inventor of pop-up ads regrets it, the story of the most annoying internet invention. In the 90s, pop-up ads seemed like a great idea. Ethan Zuckerman created them to separate advertising content from the main one, but they quickly became an annoying part of the internet. Years later, Zuckerman publicly apologized for his invention, admitting that it caused more harm than good. This is an example of how technologies created with good intentions can turn into real problems. Did you know that a dollar can be changed in 293 ways? When it comes to breaking a dollar, the combinations can be quite diverse. By using various coins like pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins, you can make a dollar in 293 different ways. This fact showcases just how intricate and varied the coin system can be and gives a whole new perspective on the humble dollar. Can you imagine that fungi are closer to animals than plants? Believe it or not, fungi share a common ancestor with animals, dating back more than 1 billion years. Unlike plants, fungi are heterotrophs, which means they can't produce their own food through photosynthesis. Instead, they absorb nutrients from organic matter just like animals. This makes fungi a unique form of life, existing somewhere between the plant and animal kingdoms. Fungi are nature's recyclers, breaking down dead matter and returning nutrients to the ecosystem. Did you know the average person spends 6 months of their life at traffic lights? The average person spends around 6 months of their life waiting for red lights to turn green. This adds up from all the small stops we make at intersections and crosswalks every day. While it may seem like only a few seconds here and there, over a lifetime, it becomes a significant chunk of time. These moments of waiting remind us of the hidden rhythms of everyday life and how much time we spend on seemingly small things. Did you know that kangaroos have a spare pregnancy? Kangaroos have an amazing ability that's truly astonishing. Female kangaroos can delay the development of an embryo for several months if the conditions aren't favorable for the birth of a joey. This process is called embryonic diapause. Imagine that a kangaroo can literally put its pregnancy on hold if it's already caring for a young joey or if there isn't enough food. When conditions improve, the embryo continues its development. This biological marvel helps kangaroos survive in Australia's harsh and unpredictable climate. Elephants can mold mourn and grieve their lost ones. When a member of their herd dies, elephants display deep empathy and support. The others gather around the body, gently touching it with their trunks, as if saying goodbye. Some even cover the body with branches or leaves and later return to the spot, as if visiting a grave. This behavior shows just how connected elephants are and how deeply they can experience emotions. It's a reminder that understanding loss and respecting the departed is not just a human trait. Why don't newborns cry tears? Newborn babies can cry, but they don't shed tears. How is that possible? Their tear glands are not fully developed. In fact, it can take several weeks for newborns to start crying with tears. So, while babies can loudly express their dissatisfaction, you won't see real tears until sometime after birth. This is one of the little wonders that happen in the first weeks of a baby's life. Elephants fear bees, and that saves farms. Elephants are giants of the savannah, but there's something tiny that makes them run away: bees. African farmers discovered that elephants are terrified of these buzzing insects. Using this fear, they started setting up beehives along the borders of their fields. These beehive fences create a natural bee barrier, and elephants, hearing the buzzing, avoid these areas to avoid painful stings. This ingenious solution helps farmers protect their crops from being trampled, maintaining a peaceful coexistence with these majestic animals without resorting to violence. Nature truly is the best ally. Who would have thought that jellyfish are 95% water? Jellyfish are almost ethereal in appearance, and no wonder. 95% of their bodies are made of water. This high water content allows them to float gracefully through the ocean, moving with the currents as if weightless. Despite their simple structure, jellyfish have existed for hundreds of millions of years, perfectly adapted to life in the ocean. Their delicate, watery forms remind us of the fragility and beauty of marine ecosystems. It's interesting that messages in bottles can travel for years across the sea. Sometimes bottles with messages thrown into the sea can float for years before reaching a shore. The longest recorded journey of such a message lasted about 133 years. During that time, the bottle traveled thousands of kilometers. These random journeys have inspired countless stories, and even in our digital age, people continue to throw bottles into the ocean, hoping to connect with future generations. The amazing world of skin, more microbes than people on Earth. There are more microorganisms living on your skin than there are people on the planet. This living ecosystem of bacteria, fungi, and other microbes is called the skin microbiome. And while the thought of billions of organisms living on your skin might sound alarming, they actually play an important role in protecting your body. These microbes help keep your skin healthy, fight infections, and maintain the balance of your body's ecosystem. So the next time you think about cleanliness, remember, your skin is home to an army of tiny helpers. Did you know giraffes barely sleep? Giraffes are masters of the power nap. These towering creatures need only about 1 hour and 9 minutes of sleep a day, and even then, they break their sleep into short bursts, perfecting the art of napping. This remarkable adaptation shows how nature can surprise us with its creativity. Imagine how productive humans could be if we only needed 2 hours of sleep per day. Laika, the first star among space dogs. In 1957, a small Moscow stray named Laika became a true hero when she launched into space aboard Sputnik 2. Laika was the first living being to orbit the Earth, proving that life could survive in zero gravity. Her mission was a key part of the Soviet space program, which paved the way for future space exploration. Though Laika's return to Earth was not planned, her bravery inspired a generation of scientists and marked an important step toward conquering the cosmos. Laika remains a symbol of courage and sacrifice for the sake of progress. Did you know that the world's longest hair measures over 18 feet? A Chinese woman named Xi Cuping holds the Guinness World Record for the longest hair, which measures a staggering 5.62 meters. That's about 18 feet and 5 inches. She began growing her hair at the age of 13 in 1973 and hasn't cut it since. Taking care of such long hair is no easy task. She spends hours every week washing it and at least 2 hours just combing it. Sometimes she braids her hair or wraps it around herself to make moving easier. This record has remained unbeatable for decades. Earth's gravity. Why isn't it the same everywhere? Have you ever wondered why gravity varies slightly in different places on Earth? It turns out this is due to many factors, such as altitude, the density of Earth's crust, and the distance from the equator. Gravity is stronger at the poles and in places with denser crust, like mountain ranges, because these areas are closer to the Earth's center. Conversely, gravity is weaker at high altitudes, such as on top of Mount Everest and near the equator. These variations are caused by the distribution of mass on the planet and the fact that Earth is slightly flattened at the poles. This highlights the complexity and uniqueness of our gravitational field. Now you know, in some places on Earth, you weigh a little more or less than in others. The accident that changed the world. The invention of the popsicle. Have you ever wondered how the popsicle was invented? It was pure accident. In 1905, an 11-year-old boy named Frank Epperson left a mixture of soda water and a stick outside overnight. The next morning, the mixture had frozen, and thus the first popsicle on a stick was accidentally invented. Years later, when Frank grew up, he began selling his frozen treat, which quickly became a hit. His children suggested naming it a popsicle, and the name stuck. That's how a simple mistake became a beloved dessert for millions around the world. What's the longest time between the birth of twins? The longest recorded gap between the birth of twins is 87 days. This astonishing record was set when one twin was born prematurely and the other stayed in the womb for almost 3 more months. Imagine that. One twin born at the end of 1 year and the other in the following year. This unusual story adds a remarkable milestone to the family's life, creating a unique timeline between the births of these twins. It turns out the world's smallest reptile is the size of a fingertip. The world's smallest reptile is the leaf chameleon, native to Madagascar. This tiny creature measures only 29 millimeters from nose to tail, smaller than a fingertip. Despite its minuscule size, male leaf chameleons boast bright green and orange patterns, while the females have elegant shades of brown and beige. Discovered in 2012, this remarkable species continues to amaze scientists with its tiny yet colorful existence. Did you know that penguins swallow stones? These tuxedo-wearing wonders not only excel at swimming, but also have an unusual habit of swallowing small stones. Penguins ingest pebbles to help them digest food more efficiently, using the stones to grind up food in their stomachs, much like birds use gravel. In addition, these stones provide extra weight, allowing penguins to dive deeper in search of fish. This clever adaptation turns penguins into expert divers and makes them even more fascinating. Have you ever wondered where the word okay came from? Can you imagine that one of the most popular words in the world came from a simple joke? In 1839, in Boston, the phrase all correct was intentionally misspelled as all correct in a humorous newspaper article. This abbreviation, shortened to okay, quickly became common in everyday language. Since then, okay has become universal, understood in almost every corner of the world. It signifies agreement, affirmation, or just a friendly gesture. From humble beginnings to global spread, okay proves that even a joke can become a linguistic phenomenon. Now, when you use this word, you can remember its amusing origins. Antarctica is the largest desert on Earth. Antarctica, despite all its ice and snow, is actually the largest desert in the world. Yes, you heard that right. The criteria that define a desert are low levels of precipitation, and in Antarctica, very little moisture falls. The average annual precipitation in some parts of the continent is similar to that of the Sahara. This makes Antarctica a true ice desert, where endless ice fields stretch instead of scorching sands. This fact highlights that deserts come in many forms, both hot and cold, and nature always has a surprise in store. Who would have thought that King Louis XIV ruled for 72 years? Louis XIV, also known as the Sun King, holds the record for the longest reign in the history of monarchy. He ruled France for 72 years and 110 days, from 1643 to 1715. This incredible reign surpasses all other monarchs in history. During his time, France became the cultural heart of Europe, and Louis himself became the symbol of absolute power. Long live the king who ruled longer than any other. Eyes bigger than the brain, the amazing anatomy of ostriches. As strange as it may seem, ostriches have eyes bigger than their brains. These huge birds have the largest eyes of any land animal, with a diameter of up to 5 centimeters. But despite this, their brain is relatively small. However, thanks to their large eyes, ostriches can see far distances and detect danger long before it gets close. What incredible creatures ostriches are. Large eyes, but a small brain that still manages to perform all the necessary functions. Did you know that wild bananas are full of seeds? Most people imagine bananas as sweet, soft fruits, but it turns out that wild bananas are quite different. They are literally packed with large seeds, making them extremely inconvenient to eat. The bananas we enjoy today are the result of selective breeding, which has made the seeds almost invisible. Imagine, without human intervention, bananas would be a completely different fruit, and eating them would be far less enjoyable. Did you know the term internet was first used in 1974? We all know the internet is an essential part of modern life, but did you know the first mention of the word was in 1974? At that time, internet was used to describe a global network of interconnected computer systems. Back then, it was a novelty, but by the end of the 20th century, the internet became a revolutionary technology that changed the world. Today, billions of people are connected online, and the internet has become not just a communication tool, but also a key platform for business, science, and education. The first speeding ticket. 8 miles per hour is too fast. In 1896, the first ever speeding ticket was issued in England. Walter Arnold was caught driving at 8 miles per hour, about 13 kilometers per hour, which was 4 times faster than the speed limit. A policeman on a bicycle caught up with the offender and fined him. This event became historic, and today's road traffic has left such speeds far behind. Did you know that in Iceland there is a beach that constantly changes shape? On Iceland's southern coast, there is a black sand beach that constantly changes its shape depending on weather conditions and tides. Each year, locals and tourists notice that the beach's outlines shift significantly. New dunes appear in some places, while the sand disappears entirely in others. This phenomenon is caused by strong winds and underwater currents that transport the sand along the coastline. The beach is considered one of Iceland's most mysterious natural sights. Why do flamingos stand on one leg? Flamingos can stand on one leg for hours, and while it may seem strange, there's a scientific reason. By tucking one leg under their bodies, flamingos conserve energy and retain body heat. This position also reduces muscle fatigue. Scientists even found out that flamingos can sleep standing on one leg without losing balance. Can you imagine being able to stand on one leg for hours? These birds are true masters of balance and relaxation. Surprisingly, there's a town in Norway where every house stands on stilts. In Røros, Norway, almost all houses are built on wooden stilts. This ancient technique helps protect the buildings from moisture and snow. The historical center of the town is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and today tourists come to see how ancient construction methods have remained relevant for centuries. This town stands as a living monument to how people adapted to the harsh conditions of the north. Did you know that olive oil can help fight cancer? Extra virgin olive oil contains an incredible compound called oleocanthal, which has the remarkable ability to destroy cancer cells without harming healthy ones. This natural wonder shows how food can act as medicine, offering a gentle yet powerful defense against cancer. Oleocanthal targets cancer cells at a molecular level, making olive oil a potential ally in the fight against various cancers. So next time you enjoy olive oil, remember that it's not just a tasty ingredient, but also a natural healer. Why are towers in the desert built so tall? In the UAE and other desert regions, modern skyscrapers are not just built high for beauty, but to minimize the impact of heat. At great heights, temperatures are cooler, which helps save on cooling costs. Additionally, tall buildings provide maximum shade to surrounding areas. This unique design solution allows desert cities to counteract extreme climates, creating an oasis of coolness right in the middle of the desert. Believe it or not, birds can talk. Many species of parrots can mimic human speech, but not because they understand words. They memorize the sounds and rhythms they hear and repeat them with surprising accuracy. Moreover, some parrots can remember and reproduce dozens of phrases and even sing tunes. This ability has made them popular as pets, as they can mimic entire sentences from their owners, adding funny and sometimes unexpected elements to conversations. Hard to believe, but there's an underwater waterfall in the world. On the island of Mauritius in the Indian Ocean, there is a phenomenon that baffles even experienced travelers and scientists. Off the island's southwestern coast, you can witness an optical illusion of an underwater waterfall. It's not a real waterfall, but a natural phenomenon where sand and sediment, moved by currents, create the illusion of a waterfall plunging into the ocean depths. Due to the ocean floor's contours, it looks like water is cascading down into a giant abyss, though in reality, it's just an illusion. Yet, this view is so mesmerizing that many tourists come to Mauritius just to see this extraordinary sight. Did you know that a duck's quack actually has an echo? Despite the popular myth that a duck's quack doesn't echo, that's not true. It's not that ducks lack an echo, it's that our ears sometimes fail to catch it. The physics of sound works the same as for other sounds, but due to the frequency of the quack and how it spreads, it may seem quieter or barely noticeable. Next time you're near a duck, listen closely. You might catch its quack echo, sounding like it's in stereo. It's nature's version of a whispering gallery, but with ducks.